Hello guys, this is Michael Lee, and in theory you have to hear me. Sorry about the audio quality. I will turn off my my monitor so I don't. Okay, I will have a little bit of this. It won't be so muffled. Alright, I'm just checking the stream. Alright. Cool. So now I have to check where we left off previously, because I don't remember too much. So I think we left off with, I think was it async? Oh no, it wasn't, because I had a workshop about that, so I didn't cover it previously. And I think it was just essentials. Yes, it was essentials. And I was demoing you the PBR IBR thing, so the image-based lighting with PBR shenanigans. So first of all, as you can see, Simone has some problems in installing the last commit, so let's check that out. And while doing so, we can actually I can actually show you some new features of VPM as well. Let us see. Let's find vvv, which is not my working one, so I won't mess up anything. I need to do that because in my working vvv I have these symbolic links, not real folders, and it's quite good to point multiple vvvs into the same folder and to have it in a GitHub like setup, but you know, it's not. I haven't tested it out with VPM though, so if you have a similar setup, well, I'm sorry for you. So I'm still looking for one. Yeah, this was the one. Let's default to this vvv, and then if in case you forgot, why is it? In case you forgot, so you can download the md.ecosystem through VPM, and now I switched to GitHub to download the releases. The reason for that is that I've been trying out mp.vaudio lately, which builds every commit which builds every push I'm committing to GitHub, and incrementing the build number automatically. And so yeah, I expect some high build numbers in the future. Anyway, so you can download that VPM through here. Installing it is just unzipping it to your folders of liking, and then downloading md.ecosystem can be done through its contribution page. Now let's see that what Simone might have problems with. yeah, I want to override everything. Yeah, I already had these here. Meanwhile, it won't be too wise to maximize any window. Ooh, I have quite a lot of bits happening here in leapback. I don't think so. I will go with leapback. So yeah, this is a new feature of VPM currently, license pages. Now, most of these you will see a pack is missing license because the VPack Lite doesn't specify one, but you have to agree them all. It might not be the best user experience, but it assures you understand all the licensing bits. You can see DirectX 11, for example, is PSD3. And most of my packs is MIT. mp.vaudio, for example, have a different closure with its beat detector thing. And yeah, I haven't specified for this, so continue, click this through. So the reason for this, reason that I implemented this is actually just raising awareness, and then of course in the future it will be also possible to pay for these specs on this screen for packs which are free for non-commercial only. And following that, I will probably so I will implement a mechanism which these license pages can talk to VPM with much higher integrations, so with the JavaScript object, for example. And then the script can decide what to do with that information, to install different versions based on user choices, or just have or just not install at all because user didn't agree to. I don't know. So user didn't do whatever you have to do. Of course, it will slightly slow down installation more, but it will help a little bit pack developers to kind of counteract the fact that there's no such a thing inside the vvvv original ecosystem as an asset store, for example, or a kind of a support system. And unfortunately, Flutter, yeah, you have Flutter there, yay, but it is not really viable so, and it's a little bit vague when you can grab out money from there. And you probably won't grab out money at all, because what you get from other contributors, you just pass it on to other ones, because it's not that huge amount of money to count with. Anyway, enough of this rant. So this was going well. Let's just test out what was, if it was doing what it was supposed to do. Let's see. Let's start that vvvv which we were installing the packs in. Right, sorry for the delays. we are heating in this winter with wood, and I had to cut down some, and it was quite a long time. I'm not really good at that, and it takes me quite a long time, and it's never mind. So let's just see a message, create. So messages came through. Can I create oh no, messages didn't came through. This must be a very old version. Anyway, let's see. An mp.essentials node. I think, yeah, Tuple needs to be in there. Tuple is a new thing. We will talk about that. We will talk about that today. Absolutely. And get5 have to be in there as well. Oh yeah. Let's have just integer. Boom. Doesn't work. System.double, and then just a couple. I will explain all of this. Oh yes. No, I don't know why it was not happening. Anywho, so it's working from on my side. If Simone will send me a screenshot of what his problem is, it will be awesome. So, meanwhile, what happened since the last workshop, and quite some things happened. For instance, I'm planning to deprecate objects altogether, because it's a failed concept, I think. It's not too good. I mean, I won't delete it from the internet, but I don't think so I will include it here anymore. Or just a thing. And so I started to port a lot of nodes from the object pack, which was essentially not their place was not really good in a separate pack at all, as in mp.essentials. These nodes, and now I will switch back to my working vv. If I can get it fine, if I can find it. Oh, I didn't. Ah yes, because of a weird error, I have to restart my mouse service thingy so I can get back my middle click. There you go. It's just Logitech bloatware. Alright, middle click is working. Awesome. And setup. There you go. Alright, now we're starting. So first of all, a couple of new nodes since md ecosystem workshop part 1 is object utility nodes. So for example, filter type, which you input whatever, you input a reference object which will read the type from, and then it will filter all other objects coming in and it will spit out all the objects in the spread with that type. If you have like a spreads of interfaces and you require a very specific object, and these interfaces inherit from that object, you can have that. There's a different version for that, which operates rather with just a single type name. So you don't have to create a reference object for that. You just have an assembly qualified name in here. So or just this is if type name. So for example, system.tuple, which is the number type basically in vvv. Or if you want a little bit different one, so like a render semantic or a geometry layout, or sorry, an input element, so like this, and have the get type of that. Okay, I have to look it up though, because it might have, so the generic pin node, the I node in might have changed in beta 35. So okay, yes, we know. So fortunately, there's another version of getType which uses plugin interfaces v2 with an object in rather an I node in. So this one is it gives back our assembly qualified name. Put that inside here, and well, obviously it won't pass through here because this is not an input element. But if I connect the input element instead, it will throw an error. Which is the same because yeah, it has problems with iron. Oh, okay, all right. Well, amazing, and it. Anyway, I think it works with messages. Message create. Yeah, of course. Filter type name. Yeah, it works with messages. I don't know what its problem is with these types, with input element, for example. Anyway, yeah, these are coming from the object, from the object track, object utils. Also, the stopwatch got ported here. Sorry. So construct stopwatch, and as you can see now, it is strongly typed, so it will emit a stopwatch instead of just the generic object as you had in objects. I don't know if anybody noticed though, because I don't know if anybody used that at all. And did I get JSON over? I might have. No, it's still object. I'm thinking about just ditching JSON at all, because this is basically Sanchez code altogether with a couple of modifications to make it work a little bit better, and then but you have you have in message pack a lot of traversability as what JSON can offer. So now, what else? Oh yes, and the very important one is that HTTP node is also coming with mp.essentials. Now, the WebSockets node will not come with mp.essentials because it requires a third-party library of sorts, and it might come in a different pack, but I don't really like its implementation either, and it's just I have this feeling about it. Anyway, so this HTTP node can oh sorry, I meant to click send. HTTP, there you go. You can see there's a bunch of different options because you can spread these and then have different. So with these HTTP clients, these nodes represent a session connection to a server. So this server, and then you have to specify the path here. And this means you can communicate with, for example, a login server with multiple send nodes in multiple places in your complex project, and it will still send those requests in the same session, so it won't log you out. So you don't have to do any kind of hackery to go around these, and you can also specify when the data will be populated. So when the content is ready and the content is downloaded, or when the headers is ready but the content is still downloading. And this is kind of important because now you can actually fetch infinite downloads with vvv. However, I would not recommend to do that because the current implementation is using HTTP client in .NET, and I have a feeling that it is not really engineered for that kind of usage, and so the stream it provides, I have a feeling I'm not quite using as it's supposed to be used. Anyway, it has it here. You can have a play around, but it's currently in development phase or sorts of, because of that asynchronous streaming infinite download capability thing I want to achieve with this. So yeah, this is in here. What else did I port from Object? I don't think so. Anything else? Not too much, is it? Anyway, in mp.essentials, I've got a couple of generic nodes, generic object creation nodes, which might be interesting for you. So here's a tuple, for example, tuple nodes. Tuples are these things in C#. I'm currently fetching the MSDN documentation. or the .NET Perf is actually, it might be better. So these things, and these tuple nodes will actually create this tuple generic type dynamically, and it will fill it up with the values you feed with it. So the syntax is, you see these types, and you see this get type node, and you grab the assembly qualified name of the type you want to feed with it. So now it accepts input element, and then obviously you want to have tuples with multiple types. So if I can remember, I'm using backslash to, oh, yeah, of course it will freak out because there's I haven't written anything there. So I want to use these two together, and yeah, so now I can join these two together and this one, and then as you can see, as a type here, it will list for us the tuple and then this md.dx what input element, and then the other one, the float render semantics. And now if I want to split this, of course it won't apply there. So now if I want to split this, again I need to copy this text, so the signature to this node, and then voila, I can split it out. Now of course both of these, maybe input element, yeah, it does have a split, so it have a split, so we can yeah, look for the results over here, like there, so colors and blend weight, for example, whatever. But I have a feeling that we have a couple of more stuff hidden in these objects. So we had a thing called expand. So now expand have a similar philosophy behind it, but it just requires a type in the configuration bin. So if I again get the type of an input element and then feed it, it is actually everything over here. It will automatically get the properties and the fields of that type, of that class, or more to say, or more properly saying that. And so if I connect this, I can again get the semantic name and blend rate. You can get really crazy with that though. For, well, I don't know if for any particular reason, or if it has any kind of usefulness to do this, what I'm about to do now. But if I say, oh yes, I have to do control. So basically this is the class, I think, which wraps around, which creates this window here. So if we put that in, boom, it will create this insane split node. And yeah, there's there's a slight problem here. You can't. It expects a DX11 renderer node, but this is a control, and you can't connect this because this class derives from control, but vvv only works backwards, so you can only connect from upstream to downstream something which is derived from upstream. Whatever. So it's I can't really explain that because I'm not in my sharpest mood, probably. But to avoid to work around that thing, you have a little node called cast, and what it will do, it will get a mixer type, whatever type, again with inode, so it might not work with this thing. I think it was not working. Yes, it might not work with these things. I have no idea why. I have to get that head around. It's working with the very messy plugin interfaces v1 to accept any type. Anywho, I connect this here, and I can get data out of this particular object, which is insane. I have no idea about any of this. Okay, I might have couple of ideas, but let's see if anything changes. It is changes. Amazing. That contains focus created. Focus capture. Amazing. Yeah, it just got to my mind that in the future I might put events into this node, so every time an event is fired it will have a little bang over here, which might be cool. Or maybe a tuple with the bang and the event arguments. So yeah, nice, isn't it? So this was what happened. Well, have a node though. Let's create a perf meter here. I don't know if I showed this to you guys previously. So have a node though that this particular node with this many properties it's quite some resources. It eats quite resources, but if you have just a few properties or fields, it doesn't really care too much. I have a mechanism which turns off the node execution when the pin is not changing. But as you can see, the problem is with custom data types. Most of the time, if the plugin developer doesn't pay attention to this, is that it's always flagged as changed, as you can see here. So, well, you can rely on it. For example, if the developer took care of that, here Vux took care of that with input elements. So if I change the semantic over here, as you can see, it will get the bang of a change. But well, not most of it. Obviously not messages, because to my understanding it creates a new message every frame, but Workrom might prove me wrong on that part. Anywho, so yeah, if a plugin developer that didn't write a simple split node for an output type because he was lazy and such. For example, HTTP send. I didn't write a split node for this particular class over here, the HTTP request container, because I was lazy to do so and I didn't have the motivation to do so. So if we have a simple request, let's say client HTTP towards www.com, and then let's have a page loaded before internet wants that. I think I'm connected through wire. Yes, I'm a bit wired. Yeah, let's have this. Let's have the path over here, and let's hope it's actually working. Yada yada yada. Yeah. Oh yes, allow untrusted because of HTTPS. Yeah, I think we are connected. Yes, and then it can do long polling as well. Just for the record, this was content lead. Yeah, let's have that. Let's have that. Let's have it as default. Oh yeah, you shouldn't do that. Let's have this. I think I haven't tested it with. What is long polling? Oh yes, long poll. Oh yeah, there you go. It freaks out. Amazing. So long polling is when it is an event system for the client notification, where you request, you have an HTTP request, and then you subscribe to an event basically, and the server will only send data when a particular event occurs. So like you can set up a long polling Twitter feed, for example, and not originally from Twitter because it worked differently, the live stream, but for instance a Node.js server which just gets that live stream and then it will transmit the data through with long polling. So in that case, if a tweet happens, then that or custom stream server or custom event server will send data, and then it says it is completed, and now the client says a request again for the next to subscribe to the next event, and so on. So basically, this is long polling. It's that simple. It's really simple. Just have a very interesting name. I also noticed that if you send a spread to the client, it outputs no spread, just single. Yeah, I have to look into that because I think it accepts spreaded clients. But yeah, as you can see, all the parameters here are bin-sized parameters, so that it is, if you want different paths to different clients, then you have to set the bin size accordingly. but again, I have to have a look because this node state is quite messy. I don't know what is problem now. For example, is one or more errors occurred, which is, and what is that? An error occurred while sending the request. And the text unable to connect to remote server. No connection could be made because the target machine actively refused it. Oh. Well, oh yes, because it's org. I'm so stupid. Yeah, again. And then there you go. And it flew out of. Oh Jesus! Why is it so big? Shouldn't be so big. Anyway. So yeah, as you can see, there's a slight problem with how I received its data in the node here. So it's not reliable at this point. But to yeah, I had distracted a little bit from my original point where where I was just saying the HTTP request container. As you can see, the biggest row here slows down the inspector. We will close that for the time being. Get type. First of all, I didn't do a split node for headers either, and for request. So we're getting the type of the request. We will have that here. Boom. And again. And then we have a task here and an origin ongoing request task. So if I say get type again and then expand again, I can view the properties of that task object. Alright, so I have to cast this into its proper node, and now I can have some fun with it. And then yeah, is cancelled, is completed, creation options, async state, whatnot, is quoted. So yeah, that's what this expand node is for. It's quite amazing. So in the future I don't have to write a split node for basically just join together node containers. Oh yes, other thing about these tuples though is that, for example, someone wrote a client. You can guess, so I probably will use this in the future. Someone wrote a module. Did I say client? Anyway, someone wrote a module with tuples, and you want to copy. You don't want to go into the module every time and copy this string from here. So, and there's a node get around that, which is get property types. It is entitled, its category is object because it works with any object, but it is designed to use with tuple, which will get back this signature node, signature pin, and the signature string, type signature. And if we copy this and I create a new tuple split node, there I can again have this thing. Now it is no means any competition to messages. So if you have any if you want to do anything other than joining the data together, it's like querying how many fields there are, add the fields dynamically, or have where did I wanted to go with this? Yes, so if you want to have advanced features like serialization or any other bits or any operations with it, then you have to use background messages. This, however, this is just the plain or tuple comes with the system, with the system library of .NET. So it can't do anything else than that, and you can't edit it. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say previously. Edit the fields upstream. So in messages you can do such a thing. Edit message, and then boom, and it will edit a field, like just for case of some demonstration, blah, blah, blah. This one, okay, and have it over here. Oops, have it over here as well. And then have a split node just for demonstration still. Yeah, this is an external monitor, so I have to grab everything out from my primary one. Where was I? Yes, here. I want to put this over here. Boom, boom, and so as you can see, you can edit here. Obviously, it might have a frame delay because it is not traversed through the graph, the prepare graph stage of vvv. Okay, so you can't do this with tuple. And the other limitation there is that you can only join together seven different data types. If you want more than 7, though, you can group together easily. So like I have these two, and then I want to have a value. I want to have a value and then a string together for some reason. Tuple join, and then system dot double, and then system dot string. Obviously didn't write something good. No problem. We will just get this. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was good. I was good. Just inspector didn't update it. All right, no problem. No problem. Boom, boom. Have the get type. So create another tuple join. Have this, and then after that to the end. Have that. I'm using copy paste over here. So now you can have this and that joined together into one tuple, and obviously if you want to split that, again copy paste over here. If you want to split that, there you go. You can have a view over here. So this way you can join together more than 7 data types. But you know, if you want to group together more than 7 data types, there are better ways to do that. This is just a very quick way to organize together data. And as you can see, this is the performance hit on that. So now Tuple actually takes care of the changing mechanism, so the is changed stuff. For example, now as you can see, it is changed all the time because I think render semantic is changed all the time, but this one over here is actually taken care of. Oops. This one over here is actually taken care of, and it will only update the tuple when it's needed. Have a little bit of thoughts though on that, because every time you update the tuple, a new one is created. So a tuple is an immutable object to maintain compatibility with F# and things like that. So it's not updating the value actually. It creates a new instance of a new tuple every time of this type, and then it will go through the VV, I guess. So I developed this to have, so I don't have to develop also to split node for FBX. So that was my motivation. Anyway, yes, that was happening since the last time. Oh yes, one important thing, I almost forgot what was happening since the last time we had a workshop about this back, is a new way to work with shaders. And and I will have a little bit of backstory of that. So you have a shader factory node now, which, as you can see, bugs the hell out for no particular reason. Oh yes, it bugs out because it's only working in patches which is saved to the disk. Yes, I had a fear of that. Yeah, let's just save this into my already messy weekend workshop 20 thing. Yeah, level 20. So again, shader factory, boom. It will create a shader for us. Not you might ask, what sort of shader? It's as you can see, you can edit it, but you wouldn't edit it here because then you just create your own manually. Now, as you can see, it has a shader called a pin. It's basically creating a shader node out of a string, and it basically makes a slave node out of this above this thing. It's kind of a hack, as you can see over here. It's just a bunch of XML wrangling around. So how it works, it's basically saving a shader file into the user temporary folder on Windows, not to loiter through your project folder. And so it can create all 3 shader types. It can create regular effects, You can create texture effects and a geom effects or GS effects, and all from shaders. And you see these numbers over here. So this is the project. This is the process ID of vvv. So it can work with multiple vvv instances, and then the node path of this particular node here. Well, actually, a node path of a plugin inside this node, which is basically the ID of the node. If you don't know, for just the record, a node path is an ID queried path from the root patch to the current node, in this case into this node, which so you can see the ID inside the root patch of this particular patch is 73, and then the ID of this node is 82. Now this name comes together with 73, and then the ID of this node is 29, and then this node inside this module has the ID of 19. And so this is necessary so you can create multiple instances of this patch here. So as you can see, there was a little bit of misunderstanding on which node should be created with the IDs. But created from the node browser shouldn't pose any sort of problem. Of course, for readability, you can attach your own name to it. So, my shader, and then I guess it will update. Oh yeah, there you go. So it will update the next time. I have to also make the update on the change of this name. It's just a simple connection to be made, and yeah, this is Shader Factory. I trust your I trust your fantasy what you will do with it. My plan is to do a little bit more streamlined texture effects pipeline with it, utilizing the capability of messages to have DirectX 11 resources bundled into messages now, which is cool. So I will have that, and I hope I can save a couple of render targets and performance with that kind of pipeline. But for example, from what I've read from Kyle on Facebook, what he's told to me, he's working on the sign distance field function generator, and he's using this node to accomplish that. Now there's a little backstory though for this node, because TMP is now developing his new particle systems, as some of you might heard. More as for life. Kinect based shader program, yes. Kinect mind reading to HLSR converter. Yeah, you can do that. You can absolutely do a node based shader editor with this, if you take your time, because those to develop takes up quite some time, and to do it with vvv is kind of like lighting up a fire with a spoon or something like that, but it is possible to do so. And so to get back to my previous point, is that TMP also made a similar node for this, but with plugins. So it's not using any kind of XML hackery around. He's using a very clever plugin to write special particle selector code to write your own expressions for selection of particles where you want to do any kind of operation, where you want to do the operation. So that's one extra which was coming in for in the previous days, and as I can see, it might have more success than what I showed you previously. And as you can also see here, it's your regular shader node, by the way. Yes, another thing, so because this is an XML wrangling over here, you might have the idea that how will this keep my pins? It was changing values all the time. It's like the process ID of course won't be the same all the time. This shader as well will be deleted, I think, from the temporary folder. Yes, it will be deleted. So yeah, I'm doing some hackery with dog edge frame delays and then the monoflops around, and the move around the nodes to reset the connect the links to the individual pins. And during my tests, these didn't really cause any sort of problems. So if just to test this is, if I have a transform and then so like be enabled, that's the layer as well, just for the air of it, and then oh yeah, if I, it's really I wouldn't recommend to do what I'm doing now. So basically float blah equals 10, and so if it changes, note that it will also add my pin. Just a second. Did it add my pin? Huh, it didn't. Am I doing anything wrong over here? Of course, because it's commented out. See, that's why it's not a really good idea. Don't say that. But this is why it's not really a good idea. Alright. So now we have the pin here with the value 10, and then yeah, if I close this batch, and you do, oops, do whatever we did, and your automation comes in here. See if I save this batch, exit out, no, and I open that patch again. Windows Explorer update. Then as you can see, pins are coming back. Voila. So you don't have to worry about that. Even inside the node, even inside the module, according to my tests, it comes back. So that's the thing. Now to continue on the workshops, I was cut in half previously, because there's all sorts of magic around as well. I don't remember though, but I might have not covered the perf meter too, and that's basically a nicer perf meter what you have currently, so might have covered it, but you know, repeating is the mother of knowledge. So you might be familiar with the original perf meter with this one, and now it's a little bit better one, I think. And what it does, if I turn on the cursor, is you can tell basically for every frame what was happening, not just about the current frame. It doesn't draw a graph about the FPS only, it will draw a graph on like this sum graph on every component, so you can have a track of the last couple of frames. You can set that, so over, if I want 80 frames, what was consuming how much time, and then you can get the total amount of time, basically just, you know, these stages adding up. And here you can see the amount of time a frame took. So here's 8 milliseconds. This is the maximum displayed milliseconds. Like this war box now is 50 milliseconds. If there's a spike coming that exceeds that 50 milliseconds, so it will normalize down a little bit until that spike is gone, and then it will display like, well, that spike was 68 milliseconds. And then you have the minimum frame rate here, maximum frame rate here in the examined period, and here you have the mean FPS of the period, so like the average mostly FPS of the period, and then which is the busiest moment, which is the busiest state. And then the Windows main loop is basically here. The main loop is limiting our frame rate, as there was with perf meter. If we set the limit to 1000, you can see there's a other bunch of things, and this one, in this case, one frame takes 3 milliseconds or whatever. And then here are the minimum and maximum FPSs. And the mean FPS, then it's all faster. Of course, if I set it to 10, as you can see, there's the maximum millisecond changed, and here's the you can expect these values. So that's perf meter, and so now we are mp.dx. The shader factory also was in mp.dx, and I think we left off with P previously. Yes, we left off with P, and so because we got these. And so yeah, this is it. It's nicer, and I don't think so it's faster. Maybe the original one definitely faster, because this one is a patch like this, and it uses the advanced text node, so it might be slightly slower, but you know, you wouldn't I don't know you wouldn't display that too much on the end product either. But if you're not concerned about that, if you have a modern machine, you can absolutely use this. it uses, to generate this graph, it uses geometry shader, so that part is quite fast. Actually, the text rendering might be a lot slower. Well, in lot slower means that, I don't know, extra 1 millisecond or something like that. Anywho, so this is perf meter, and now there's as you can see, there's a picture node. What picture is basically just a utility node to display pixel perfect pictures into any size renderer, which requires to tell it the resolution of the renderer itself. And so here's the thing. Oh yes, actually I forgot one thing which was also updated since the last workshop, and that is an internal sending node which is exclusive to the patch. Now how it works, it's also a module, it's not a plugin, and as you can see, it will update its description dynamically as well. And so as you can see, this is a patch, you can see here, and it will use node path to create patch specific instances of a send receive link. So if I would go into the original receive node, so I'm sending out this value, and if I go to the original receive node, here you can see a node path and then a dev node. So if you have a lot of instances of a module and using this send node, it might pollute a little bit of this enumeration, but it's quite handy if a module gets a little bit bigger and you don't really want to subpatch things, because then you literate the files over here, and or it's really good if you have global variables just in the scope of a specific subpatch. So this is very good, and you can set also the parent level. So you're sending, you can set the scope of this this send node, which basically means if I set it 0, then everything inside this patch will get can in theory access this. And if I set it 1, everything inside its parent patch can access it, and in the second set it 2, everything in the parent's parent patch, and so on. So you can have this hierarchy level here, and and I haven't shown you actually how I receive it, is basically through this side, and then you can set the same parent level and it will get the value here, and that's useful if you have a scope specific global variable but you don't have a really global variable around the entire vvvv, or you have more instances of a subpatch which uses the global variable pattern, and each instances require different value, and this module can solve those situations. Now some of you might scream that this is not a good practice, but trust me, it really helps with bigger patches with a very long links, especially patches with an enabled node. So patches with a pattern like this, and instead of this mess around here, because you will have all sorts of connections as well, and this one already getting a little bit confusing, or just you can of course have this, and the aesthetic experience will be a little bit better, I guess, but it won't give any more readability, and this one is just pure confusion. So I think a better practice is just for a subpatch, just use a pattern like this, and then value in patch, boom, boom, and boom. So, oh yes, and also boom. Whoops. And also boom over here. Alright, so you can tidy up your subpatches with this, and you don't have to worry about multiple instances of those subpatches either. And this is a very useful note for that. It's got into my mind because of the resolution thing, and so I can now create multiple instances of these, not ending. All have different I can set all different values for those scopes individually. So back to our original thing. Here is the picture. Now I'm doing slightly a roller coaster thing with topics in it. And so this one over here is, if there's a little bit of NDA operated hint of I was too lazy to change that from the for the default string. So if we have our good friend Pedro, why is it so small? Anyway, so if we have the good friend Pedro from here, and then is it also working with negative numbers, children? No, it doesn't work with negative numbers, because then there's like a philosophical discrepancy occurs. If you specify a negative number, then which children use? So it's only working with positive numbers. And if you try to set it, it won't work. And I think also I have a max node over here, so if you set it, it will just ignore it. It will just default to 0 if you set a negative number. So yeah, it will just set the level of the scope in the parent patches, because you have a single parent, but you can have multiple children. And it was just it might be a good idea, but it's a very specific use case to send out values which are only available in children and not in the current patch. And that's a strange pattern. This makes a little bit more sense to me. But yeah, most of the time, as you can see, this parent level is actually a hidden pin. So most of the time you don't even need this. You need that. So it's just on the same level. Not same level, but same scope. Current patch and its children also access it. Just to demonstrate that, here I have a subpatch, and I still can receive, sorry, so I still can access the enabled thing over here. Of course, I can access it because it's using the vvv's global send and receive system. I can access it through through traditional means, but then you know, it's kind of silly to do that because of this node path part of the send receive thing over here. So you might, so that's a notice about that topic. I don't know if that was a proper answer for this question. So I'm sending the resolution here. Back to the topic roller coaster, and then here, if I connect the picture, of course you can see Pedro over here. Oh yeah, one nice thing, so you don't need the group, you can just have this layer in, and so it will always keep the resolution and the aspect ratio regardless of the renderer resolution or the renderer size. And you have couple of pins to, of course, do whatever you want with that picture. So for example, and what I set is just a scale. So this is now pixel perfect. Previously it was a smaller scale than pixel perfect. So now this is pixel perfect. The image size appears as 1 pixel on the monitor, 1 pixel in the image, 1 pixel in the monitor. And yeah, you have the traditional render state over here, whatnot, alpha. You can see the alpha is just using it's just using like a specific special version of constant. And you have all the texture, file texture things, the sampler state, of course, and then you have the alpha test. That's the, if you, just you don't have to write your own shader to do that if you want to. And yeah, just to give some demonstration to you guys, let's try with a different picture. Oh, where did I put that? Is it in libs? No. Oh shit, I have to cheat because that's quite a funny picture actually. But I have to look up a couple of because I don't remember where I put that picture. Waiting for Illustrator to load up. Open recent files. Where are you? Come on, where are you? Come on. Save that. Ah, okay, yes, of course. Of course. It's inside here. He's Pedro certified. Here, this one. And as you can see, it works the same way as you would expect from any shader node. So the blend state have to be set blend to work that way, but you can also set an alpha test. Of course, there's nothing much more alpha than the circle around there, but you might have seen the effects on the edge of the circle. The anti-aliasing just goes away. And now, so this is picture, amazing. I've a couple of, I think I've already covered like the border node, but it was in essentials. And yeah, I have previous so mp.dx have previous matrices. Oops. Previous matrices layer makes more sense. Which is basically you feed it the same view, projection, and aspect ratio transforms, and it will create previous matrix semantics for whatever shader you want to do. The reason to do that is because some of my shaders use it for computing the right velocity buffer to output for motion blur. And so that was quick. You have a renderer fade full screen. Well, this is using the experimental forms renderer, and that we won't cover because it's very experimental. Is round rect. Now round rect is actually quite useful, can be quite useful, and this is not your ordinary round rect though. However, by now it looks like that. But if you feed it the resolution, you will see that regardless of the size or the aspect ratio of the renderer, the rounded corners will keep the ratio of the rounded corners, or or it will keep the pixel size, because the corners are actually pixel sized, defined by radius is defined by pixels. This also means if you get it transform, the transformation as well won't affect the rounded corners, the size and the distortion of the corners. So actually there's no distortion in the corners now. And you can also set like a shrink, which is basically just a pixel based shrink from the or padding, or more like padding, from the transform box. And what else you have here? It's just this, just to demonstrate the comparison, like using the original round rect geometry and then a constant. As you can see, it doesn't have a that well defined, or it does have a well defined radius behavior, but it's not. It is affecting the square size as well, the rectangle size. Oh wait, oh yeah, oh okay, this is a new thing. Okay, I might just include it in here as well. And then it will absolutely not keep the aspect ratio correct with the corners, and obviously won't keep the corner aspect ratio right with the transform. But why it would be? I mean, it's a much simpler thing. It's much lower level, and so you have these modules to do the job for you. If you don't want to bother with it, you just want to have nice rounded rounded rectangle, rounded corner rectangles. Shader factory, we covered that, and we have now text block. I have a feeling we covered that, but no, I don't really care. We'll cover it again because what we have done now. Let's see. So text block. Let's have some text. And some wrapping text. Actually, let's have some lorem ipsum. Lorem ipsum generator, and there you go. 2 paragraphs, or actually 1 paragraph will be generator, so this will be enough. Boom. Whatever. And of course it requires a text format. A resolution. Can you find it? A resolution. And always apply. And yeah, you can see leading, near, and then I have also a debug over here. So now what it does is basically you can set an easy text box based on the regular vvv texture coordinate transform, and you can set the transform width, and the text of course will wrap to that. And of course, because this is using the advanced text node, you can have all the paragraph positioning shenanigans inside that text box. Also, you have a little bit of padding over here, which comes from this node actually, and yeah, the resolution. You can have the styles. You can set the depth if you are using it in a depth environment, and this is like just adding and yeah, overcolor. It was just a very specific very specific use case over here, but for a very specific project, just stuck over there. You have pre-transform, post-transform, whatever. So you can actually in post-transform, oops, I think, yeah, pre-transform will care. Oh no, it won't. And yeah, it happens before this, and then post-transform will happen after this, and then all the shenanigans after that. So you can have a rotate, for example. Oh, so you can have these sorts of animations as well. And you can set the custom render state and all sorts of jazz for special scenarios I had with projects and stuck around. And for the outputs as well, it will give you the amount of pixels, what the pixel box covering, and the pixel box actual resolution in pixels. You have the transform out, which the text advanced node receives, and then you have the text layout, which you can have all sorts of operations, metrics with text, most of the time metrics, and to have that text matrix, like selecting a line, for instance. Just transform a node with a line, and I'll just overlay a node, and yeah, this is actually very good starting point for the next node as well. And line matrix count. Okay, yeah, we have to get slice one. Length. Hey. Baseline trim. Okay. Okay. All right. Trailing white space then. So cool. And oh, it doesn't tell me the width of a line. Okay. I actually never use this. Never use this node. So does it tell me the start of a line in characters? No, it will just tell me the length of the line in characters. Amazing. Hey, baseline. Okay, it doesn't tell me the actual get type. Let's see that. I hope you guys already guessed what I'm about to do. Expand. Let's see if we have something here. Overhang matrix. Matrix. Max height. Max width. Oh wow, look at that. Oh, we have a bunch of information around here. Let's see. Text matrix, overhang matrix. Oh no, let's browse through. Shall we? Text matrix. Well, obviously, well, yeah. It's very annoying. It's kind of misleading when the inspector does not update on new nodes. Whoa, line count, maximum bidirectional reordering depth, layout height, width including trailing space, width top left. Oh wow. Hey, Alright. Oh yeah, this node also makes any I can't see any here, but any enumerable inherited fields or properties into a bin-sized spread. And yeah, what is this as well? Whatever, bottom right, top left. Cool. Yeah, it's just okay. Just select words then, or just select a range of characters. Because text layout matrix is there? No. Line matrix. Oh no, okay, text layout. No. Oh no. Okay, direct right. I'm not really good at keywording these, isn't it? There you go, caret range, caret position. Yes, that's what we needed. Okay. All right, and index range trading, whatever. So yeah, this one, and that will give us this and that. So because this has a different coordinate system, this will require that. Yeah, we're back to the topic. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Yes, sorry. This is not a vector, of course. Sorry. And width. Okay. And so, if I connect the transform out and then these into a quad, as you can see, this will be the result. Now, as you can see, also there's a little bit of misalignment happening over here, so we have to start from left and from the bottom. Now there's a little bit of problem. You can't see the character below it. We can also fix that with the node, with the next node, is subtract render states or invert render state. I don't know if it works. It definitely works with black. As the invert. Does it actually work with other colors? Oh yes, it does. Look at that. So you can, if you don't want to use stylers, which I recommend though, but updating them a lot of times leaves some memory leak. I don't know if it was fixed. I don't know if it is fixed already. I've already talked to Vooks about it, and he said he fixed it. So probably it's fixed now. But yeah, it was introducing some memory leaks if I was styling the shit out of a text. But yeah, this is a kind of a workaround for coloring the text. Woohoo! Especially if you do blend and multiply. So, but this is not the official way. This is just a workaround way. But if you do proper invert, then this is the stuff you want to do. And of course, what happens to do that? So that's how you can use this information with these informations coming from this module, and it's quite easy to operate with text. With text in it's quite easy to operate in text space with these techniques. And I covered everything here. Now, as you can notice, there's quite a couple of stuffs around here, and because we talked about text here, we can have reveal. So reveal is just a couple of nodes, and we can have the length of text when it's just a couple of styles concatenated together, and source color and destination color, and you can reveal the text with this. But notice though, it has This is too slow for the demonstration. This is even. It has a in the fading character. It has a little nice fade in between the two colors. Currently, this is just the changing alpha. But I just have a look. Oh, yeah. So yeah, so that's what the reviewer does. It was needed for the project. That's why I have it here. It's a very common effect clients are asking for, so it's just handy to have it here. So that's direct write. More stuff will probably come here with direct write related modules. Async modules. These are mostly covered in the skeleton skeleton workshops. I think this second weekend workshops you might check out there. But yes, let's go to more goodies. Now we have an IO here with a vmesh file, and that's basically dumping down the geometry. The mesh writer is dumping the geometry to this is it basically, and to a file. It's just basically a raw dump, a raw format, and then you coupled with a JSON file, you can read it back. You can read it back with so-called vmesh, and yeah, it will create a vmesh file out of here. Apparently, it does have some compression as well via ZMA. Anyway, I don't know when I've used it last time. I don't know if it's working as well. If I didn't break anything, but yeah, I don't know when I used it. Bounding box. Now this is getting the geometry to do a lot of nodes here. I will just explain in words because I don't have a couple of help patches, and or might not be. Yeah, this is one of the shader mods. This is freaking out. It might not be so easy to improvise a help patch for it now, but let's see what we have help patch for with the geometry. Nothing. Nope. Okay. Yes. Oops. Geometry. And so bounding box, which is basically if you have a geometry and it will compute the bounding box in real time. And it was really stupid decision to quit from vvv. Let's see. Bounding box geometry. So yeah, you have to specify vertex count and then strides of those vertices, and then min-max is a pos buffer as well. If you're working with a position buffer instead of the geometry buffer, it will assume that the position semantic is right at the beginning of the vertex data. So right at the beginning of this amount of strides. And you have this precision because it's using interlocked, which only works with using integers. So I have to interpret unsigned integers. What I said before. My brain. So unsigned integers, and so I'm using those as a fixed point floating. It's a fixed point numbers, and but yeah, interpreting those as fixed point numbers. I've recently found a solution how you can interlock and add floats, actual floats, and it's quite a neat solution. I'm actually using that in FBX, but currently this was made before I knew that method. So it awaits the row buffer from a geometry, and then it will give back a structured buffer. And I have to cheat a little bit to get the data of that structured buffer, and that is yes, float 3. No, sorry, this is buffer. So the other output is use unsigned integer 3. Okay. Oh yes, indeed, because it has two values. Sorry, yeah, there you go. Yeah, so it has two elements, two values inside. The first is minimum, and the second is maximum in 3 dimensions. And then the reader side also needs to know this precision over here. It might, if I need this again, it might get the proper float interlocked implementation, but until then you have this. Also, it have a version for multi-bounding box, multiple geometries concatenated together inside a single geometry, like a mega geometry, and so you can, yeah, that have to be, vertex count. I was using this so long ago, I kind of forgot where it goes. Where does this? Oh yes! And where's Gelm ID come from? Oh yes, okay. This is awaits a spread of vertex counts, and then it will find out. So you have to know the vertex count of a subset inside CPU, and it will work out the minimum and maximum of those as well. And based on that, based on the slice count of this vertex count pin, it will generate the same kind of thing as you could see here with the single bounding box. So the multi-bounding box will have two unsigned integer 3 elements, and the first is minimum and second is maximum. So that's how the news goes. And of course you have a readback bounding box to read your work back, and this is just for debugging purposes. I would not use this in production because it uses readback, and that takes a lot of time. So yeah, that's bounding box for you. We have the ugly count vertices, and oh yeah, that is ugly, don't use that. Dispatcher threaded. Now this is just again a comforting node something. So this is your total amount of threads you want to achieve, and then the on compute shaders, and then this is the threads what the GPU will use. If I go to CS template, here. So these defines, and it will just divide down the right amount of thread groups into the dispatcher, and gives you back the defines what you have to include into your shader. Defines into this pin. So that's one thing. mp.geom features and mp.geom layout will change soon. When I seriously start, when I finish FBX, which will be in the coming weeks, next week or the following week of that, and then next week I think we can start beta testing the thing with private beta testing, and then the following we will sort out of the problems. And then hopefully in February we can release that thing finally. Oh my god, I will be so happy when I finally can do that. And then after that I will probably work on MSH3, I guess. If I find it useful. But until that point you have this is mp.geom features, geom layout, and mp input elements. Now mp.geom layout is basically just a smart node to have all sorts of information to create you a good geometry pipeline or a geometry semantic to automate the semantics of your geometry pipeline without the need for assumptions from the shader. There are some assumptions, but it can be controlled with defines. Or if you want that sort of freedom, we can actually develop your own geometry pipeline, a generic geometry pipeline with the shader factory I was demoing before. Anyway, all the ways of doing that is you can turn on or off different switches, which enables the texture coordinates, tangent, skinning, previous position, subset ID, whatnot, and the output of that. And by enabling so, as you can see, the the number of input elements will also increase, because that's kind of interestingly named input elements. It's basically just the output of the geometry. If you're not familiar with those sorts of things, it will also output the strides for you, because it's so kind. The input strides and the output strides as well. And that defines what you finally have to connect to your geomfx. So this is kind of just a wrapper around these sort of thing. And the input element is a subset of that. You can do the switching over here. This is for output, and mp.geom features is the input part, which will give you the defines for the shader to deal with it. From EX9 mesh, wow, that's an older one, and it's out of business, as you can see. Mesh coming in, the DirectX 11 mesh comes out, and boy, it is messy. Don't do that. Get max element is quite happy. Don't do that either, because it's using readback. So it should be common knowledge by now. Join geometry is you have a spread of geometry, you want to do operation on those inside the geometry, you need to join those into a single geometry, because geometry cannot do spreads. So you can connect the dots over there, and this is using the MSH way of the MSH geometry pipeline, which a lot of people actually comes to me that, oh, this is compatible with MSH, the geometry, all geometry is compatible with MSH too. It is more compatible with geometry than the actual shaders what's inside vvvv, because you can turn off texture coordinates, for example, if you don't need it. So all geometry is supported. This is just a way of doing things. And yeah, you can differentiate between your subsets inside your geometry shader, inside geometry, or whatever shader basically, with the instance of subset ID semantic, as you can you can't see, but if I show you the contents of this module, as you can see right here, and where's the subset ID input, subset ID output, yes, is on. So yes, that's and this is where the magic happens. This is a stream out renderer. You don't really have to know this though. I suggest to turn this off after you've joined together your geometries, because it won't save any performance. It might save performance as well if you have like 300 geometries. I would definitely recommend to join those into a single one, because it will spare you 299 draw calls, which is quite a hit. It can be quite a hit on the performance. You want to save those. Anyway, join geometry is a very useful thing. Line strip. Why is it manual? Yeah, it's a very old node. Don't use that. We will go into that. Usual input elements is basically just, you don't have to do it all the time. It's position, normal, text code, and these. Also a very old one. Oh, that's a very old one. I will delete that. And Z sort for DirectX 9 meshes, actually on the CPU. I'll leave that on the CPU. You can imagine the performance of this. If you're desperate, then you might want to do it. I don't recommend. And then you have some couple of STR readers. Actually, 2 of them. Oh yes, 2 of them. I hope one is binary. I think yeah, it should be binary. And then texture, and now comes the good things. Now the good things are coming. Anyway, so this is exciting things, and I will do. Okay, so let's do this as well synchronously, because there are a couple of DFX nodes here, which comes very, very handy. So change format as just that, changing the format. Exciting stuff. Okay, you don't have. And then you have DX9 to DX11 off-screen windows. So what it does is it creates a 1 pixel by 1 pixel DX9 borderless window, and it will, you can feed in any DX9 texture and it will pop out the DX11 texture. Now the reason to do this, obviously, so you don't need to I have a webcam, which I'm using it for recording, but yeah, I have a webcam, and I will see what it sees. Before, and let's see that I know this you have now direct show in DirectX 11, but for some reason, if it doesn't work, let's see if it does work. HP webcam, and I haven't tried this. At all. Resolution. Yeah, of course, full HD. I don't know how this will turn out. Properties update enable. Oh, look at you! It's working. Amazing. And it doesn't see any controversial. Not that I would have any though. So anyway, it's just a little test. But for some reason now, if it would not work as it was working here. And MJPEG, analog, this one, and then video texture. So now direct show nodes for every frame. Direct show nodes are particularly hard to share. So I mean, not particularly hard, but it's particularly finicky. So in this node, there's a built-in render target for you to share that instead of the direct show picture. And so there you go, and you can't see the window because it's 1 pixel by 1 pixel, but it will update properly in real time and won't have that slowdowns when you hide the DX9 window. Anyway, this, however, have performance indication, considerations. I will close myself. Not the DX. Oops. So yeah, these are performance considerations because you're still displaying a DirectX 9 window, and then yeah, that alone has all sorts of nasty stuff. File texture HDR. This is just a wrapper over if you would have. If you would have CV image link, then it's just a wrapper around that to mimic the behavior of actual file texture. It's called HDR because I was using it to read .hdr formatted files, and that format, the particle format, is not supported inside the file texture, the vanilla file texture of DX11. This is growth. This is the same as what you have in DirectX 9, same effect and the same implementation. It's just a direct port. Set slice texture to the array is basically just a couple of nodes to organize textures into a texture array. Now the difference between this one and the plugin version of it is that you can assign multiple textures, multiple slices, while the plugin cannot assign multiple slices. And this also can have a switch for join all, so it will create, and then you can set different samplers and texture transforms or whatever, because this is basically just a shader. Now now again, this case is kind of similar to join geometry. We would use this for rendering out the subsets what you were joining together with different textures, and select those textures based on a material ID or some sorts of things. This is how FBX will work. I was about to show you something about FBX, but unfortunately I'm not really progressing in the speed that I want to progress with that thing. But next week. Next week. So this is SSLAO. It's L is local there, and so screen space local ambient occlusion. It looks how a screen space local ambient occlusion should look nowadays, or a little bit worse maybe. Unfolded preview is cube map, map extend standalone. This is a node ported from MSH again. Oh yeah, these two also ported from MSH. So this is not ported from MSH for using a motion blur, because there is a motion blur somewhere around here. There you go, standalone. So yeah, this is just extends out the velocity buffer for the pixels, so you don't have that hard edges, which can get quite ugly. Video player is did I demo it during the last workshop? Because actually there is a girl power patch for it. So if I open a new window and go back, and here's a video player, video viewer. So now this is a DirectX 9 node. Of course it's using the DirectX 9 texture player, and it's also using an FFmpeg. There you go, composition producing a composition error. What? Okay, yes. Alright. I might get what's going on. Might. What is this just? Okay, I messed up. I messed up the naming. So this should be DX11 Very Player. Let's see if the Very Player, or where is she? Because he wrote a clone of the DirectX 9 nodes. Okay, this. Oh, of course. Quit. Sorry, yes. So I think I messed up the naming. Nah, this will be DX9. Okay, yeah, I swapped. I have to swap it to have better naming. Now, oh yeah, this is defaulted into file name, which shouldn't really appear. Oh, these shouldn't really appear anywhere. Anyway, and let's get a video file. Where I will find one. I know. Let's see. It's on D. So my screen records. and let's have the FVX demo. And I want to have PNG sequence because FFmpeg it does a really poor job with JPEGs. Or actually it does support DDS, but it's horrible. It's horrible. It still uses JPEG compression on those for some very weird reason. So yeah, if I hit convert, it will start converting. Surprise, surprise. And when it's finished, I don't know when it will be finished. I got 42 FPS. Yeah, as you might be able to hear, it's pen up in the CPU. Okay, yeah, it has this amount of. It plays back with this rate, or converts in this rate. While we're doing that, from cursor, yes. While it is doing that, I think I've showed you fake full screen. Yes, I showed you fake full screen previously. Anyway, you can select the monitors around here. So if I hit 1, it will of course cover this. So we can switch back. I said maybe can switch back and have a little bit more sensitivity. Let's lie about our monitor and make it think that this monitor is actually built up from 4 monitors with this layout. Oh, there you go. So it's finished, and now I can use that video with the player texture, and I can then define. I can then ask to delete on exit, or if I want to keep it, because why I wouldn't want to keep it, I can do so. And also it might, and also it can do, the module itself can do frame blending. So if you don't want to have that, and so like if I say I want to drive my video with relative coordinates, I want to drive my video with an LFO, I can absolutely do that, and it will do frame blending also with that. So let's have it with a ridiculously long LFO. I don't know if it's apparent or not. Anyway, you can get the point of that. This might slow down because yeah, at 10 seconds we won't be able to play it back that fast. Okay, but this is 20 seconds, a 1 minute video. Yeah, you can play back 5 times on this machine apparently with the player node. Good job, developers of the player node. Good, amazing. So this is what this node can do, and or more specifically, this is what the player node can do. And just wrapped around in a nice user-friendly way. And there's a DirectX 11 version which behaves the same exact way, but using the Voishi plugin. Now you have to download that plugin yourself, because I haven't included that yet into the dependencies inside VPM. But it's a single node, and yeah, it will be just yet another license page you have to click through. So okay, we finished that. And so yeah, this is a video player in the modules. There's a very cool one, visualize color space. So with renderer and camera. I hope you guys remember this camera from the previous workshop. Yeah, layer review right now. Okay, and then finally space mouse. Not your behavior. There we go. And yeah, let's add the axis and the grid. Yeah. Again, there you go. Okay, and as you can see, there's a little dot over there. If I make this bigger, because everything is white in the input texture, of course. And so we can have a little help with that. We will have a plasma, and we will have a file texture, and again we are using the help of Pedro. Yeah, let's do the file texture. Now, as you can see, now this is just the RGB coordinates converted to XYZ coordinates, and so but not the individual sprites are not colored, because you can define a separate color for that. And now, oh yes, I forgot to turn on the depth testing. So as you can see, the colors of Pedro picture is nicely laid out into this weird thing, and you can choose different color spaces like HSL, HSV, and HSL cylinder, so cylindrical color space, and HSV cylinder, and so yeah, that's the thing. And you can, if I find that, you can actually walk back to Pedro. Yay! You can do a nice oscillator. Just like that. Whoop! And then go back to the texture. So this might be cool for visualizing, but for visualizing texture colors. You can set also the power for each channel, and of course you can transform it to your liking. Of course you can do that. And oh yes, you have to specify the resolution. and the divider for the resolution, or the level of detail. As you can see, the higher the number, the scarcer the pixels, and the lower the number is of course the more dense pixels you can get. However, you might want to keep it on 2 or something like that, because on actual pixels it might get a little bit slower. We might be able to have it here. Oh yes, I have an idea actually. We can nah, I don't have any ideas. All right, so yeah, visualize color space. That's a thing. Oh, accidentally right clicked into that. So we can also have a waveform about the texture. Nice. So yeah, both with a layer version and a texture 2D version. No, is it? Okay, I don't know what's the difference between the two then. I thought I was... appears to have more pins. Huh. Anyway, so I need a different renderer for that. Boom. And now I can use the swap chain. And I'll put it over here. I can have a little waveform about the colors of my input texture. And obviously there's the load. As you can see, the FPS hitting, so the FPS is getting quite hard on low LOD, level of detail count. Some brightness, and it of course works with Pedro as well. So this is Pedro's waveform. For your reference, this is how Pedro looks like. And in case you don't know what a waveform is, it's basically for each columns of pixels, it throws out a point to form a graph on the height. Well, I already got confused with that. You know what? That's what Wikipedia is for. Big picture waveform. Wiki. There. Okay, it might not be. Yeah, you get the point. It was just a little bit of experimenting, and here's with plasma. That's how it looks like. So I was just a little bit of experimenting during the free time. You can see plasma looks like this on the color space. And yeah, I think I've used this in a project as you know, those kind of techno blah or techno user interfaces, you know, when completely meaningless data is just scrolling through the screen, or the source code is scrolling through the screen for no particular reason. Yeah, that sort of thing is really good for that. Doop-de-doop. Why did I? Oh, yes. And so that's the texture modules. Now there's a bunch of texture FX files which might be useful, and a bunch of others which does not work. And well, kind of lost its purpose. So let's just see. Buffered texture, doesn't work. Okay, let's see. It does work. So, okay, so this is a blend version with a control texture. All right, and you can actually set with defines which is which, I think. Oh no, you can't. Okay, yeah, that's good, because it was messing things up. You can't do that, but it's very useful. So you can't control the fade with an actual black and white control texture. Color channel remap format is a kind of thing which allows you, is just the clone of the color channel remap, but with different formats, and you can pass that format with the define, and the default is you know, the 32-bit float, because I was using it for that. The debug tongue space is lost its purpose. This is an FXH which also lost its purpose. Oh, I have to delete a lot of stuffs. Displays height, it's a different kind of displays. So if I go to Pedro again, what are you? View. Of course, it has. If I say the control, and I say the height, and then it is multiplying the texture coordinate based on the texture instead of offsetting it. So it's just a different kind of displays, which we needed for a project. Again, most of these nodes are developed from need. Filter noise. I have probably lost its purpose. I don't know what is this. Generate maps is just simple. Is generating maps before texture FXs had this pin. So it again lost its purpose. It's lost its purpose. Lava transform is just a transformable texture coordinate lava. Which, surprise, looks like this as your regular lava. Linear depth to word. Okay. I don't know why I used it. Oh, probably for some Kinect experimentation. Lookup is quite useful, mostly useful for Kinect, for example. But it's basically you get a UV texture buffer, UV texture, and it will look up the input texture based on that UV texture. Simple as a rock. You have morph, which does the same thing as the DirectX 9 texture graphics would do. So we have Pedro, we have Plasma, and it will morph between that. So that's all the thing. Motion blur, which was demoed previously in the PBR IBL thing. Well, I wouldn't even touch this pillow. I think you have one now. This is stolen from DVA, and this is made by, honestly, I don't remember, and this is kind of awkward. But if someone someone recognizes it, hey, I made this shit, then he would stand up now, or be unheard for eternity. Just kidding. So yeah, you should just write on me that, hey, you forgot to credit me. So you do that. QR code. Yeah, it lost its purpose. The reproject is a funny one. If I hit that 6x6 pixel area. So it's basically used in screen space ambient occlusion node, in SSLAO node, to reproject the things. So it looks nice on non-moving stuff on the screen, but as soon as it moves, it breaks. When it will turn noisy again, so it will just reduce noise. And yeah, it's pretty simple to use as a rock. Your texture goes in here. I mean, your color texture, your depth goes in here. The previous depth goes in here, and then a frame delay of the output texture goes in here. That's it. Reproject. RGBA, it can join RGBA, but anyway, as color operation. Actually, I got an idea how you can do that with the texture effects. Probably much more nicer. I will do that in the future. So yes, color operation bundle, and this is basically as simple as rock. Again, texture effects. Just adds, multiplies, and powers the texture values with whatever number you would like to do. And this would absolutely be amazing inside a dynamic shader, a modular shader pipeline, because this also eats up a render target, and it's not really efficient to do so with such simple things. So we have, of course, Shift RGB. I don't know if it's included now inside vanilla. What's your problem? Ooh. Okay, yes, that's your problem. There you go. Okay, it's used in HDR rendering mostly. That's why it had the max value 10, because for some reason it was not working too well with textures below 0. Probably because of hue. Yeah, probably because you could define hue. So SSLIO naked stencil view is, as you can view the stencil coming from a temp target. So with a standard tab. Don't oh sorry that okay, so don't mistake this one and this one. Both is needed to actually view the stencil of whatever you want to do inside the preview window. You of course don't need it inside the shader, because you would just define your texture 2D as an unsigned integer texture 2D, like here, and so it just makes the stencil viewable inside the preview window. I think temporal filtering is the same as reproject, but for some reason I completely forgot about that. Test word horse is playing roles in the Kinect hole filling algorithm I was developing using the distance field node created by UNT, and unpremultiply is also clever stuff with you know alpha pictures. With premultiplied alpha is basically if you blend together it's basically multiplying the color values with the alpha values, and some movie packages does that for some weird reason, and this undoes that, and it works only with black color. I haven't thought too much about the problem, and so I don't know about how to do a color version of that, because I just haven't spent too much time thinking about it. Velocity mode is used in Velmap extender, and Voronoi is a very interesting noise algorithm from Inigo Coiles. I think this is the name. And so yeah. It's better. And so as you can see, it can be a pixelated thing or a Voronoi. And you can blur it together to get this weird pattern. And you can use it, of course, all sorts of jazz. For example, displacing Pedro and have a little play around with it. Yeah, let's have that as well. I guess. All right, enough of play. So yeah, this is the texture department. Let us see what else we have here. We have a couple of Kinect 2 nodes. Now, most of the bone transformations and things like that were covered in the second weekend workshop, yes. And there's a field depth Kinect node, which is obviously not covered in the second one, and that is I won't be able to show you here that because it is I couldn't find this little box for my Kinect 2 thing. It's probably inside one of our boxes, but we're not the most ideal people on earth, so it gets get into the box and then probably forgot about it. Anyway, it's not like we won't be able to use that Kinect anymore. It's just I had to do a little bit more searching for that. And so yeah, that's the only thing I would need to do that. And this is mp.dx. We finished off mp.dx. So boy, this is a big one. And as you can see, there's a couple of shit over here, which also includes stuff. Now, I won't cover objects because I've covered it and it's a failed concept, so I don't recommend to do it. Yeah, it's just complicated. And then there's mp.vaudio, and well, let's see if I want to cover anything because the MIDI behaviors. Actually, I think I've covered these, and nothing has changed in these stuff. I've covered these while at the end of the Vaudio workshop given by Tuple, and I think yeah that was probably the best put together workshop in this entire channel. I think yeah, it was a very bad put together workshop. So after this you can view it if you have that much amount of spare time. And so what's this Nexus in? It's Nexus inside vvv. Now there's a guy who already done a Nexus wrapper for vvv. Now the problem is that his approach is more like an editor. So he have an editor and it's a closed system. You have an editor, you edit the user interface, and then that's it. You can use that in user interface, but you can't influence too much in it from vvv. And I have times that I didn't want to deal with an editor. So Nexus in V and Nexus in vvv is a more modular approach to implementing the Nexus OSC thing. It's an HTML5 based canvas based OSC controller inside the HTML with JavaScript. I think Nexus OSC. Yes. This is the thing. This thing. If you might not know. Awesome. Alright, let's see if I can. There's a girl power. Well, let's see how the girl power goes. I bet you guys might notice I'm not the best person to trust the girl power patches on. Because of course I haven't updated this. Oh god. There. And reload it. Oh, there you go. So, yeah, obviously it won't reload it again. It won't resize because it is controlled by pixels. And so this is how the patch looks like. So here's a button which I named like a V button. There's a label So I can actually feed back the value of a slider into the labels of the button, for example. You can set a little LFO like here. And I can set the range of this. This is a slider, isn't it? Okay, yes, sorry. The slider is down here. This is the slider. And this is the range controller. This one over here. And so with the right click, I can modify the range. And I can do some shit around with oh no, actually, yeah, if I move the cursor vertically, I can set the range, and I can set the offset, of course, with horizontal. Now each of these sliders have and the edge might not have but all the other sliders like this one and yeah, this one under here has vertical mode, and yeah, and this is a crossfader. Woohoo! I think to jump to default value you have to set it from vvv a color picker. Amazing. And then you have this is called tabs, but you know, it's rather like a fancy radio button stuff. And this is the dial. Choose a little bit better color. And so all the values around here can be okay. Looks like I accidentally set to sine. Yeah, you can set the LFO here to sine wave. Just for the demo, purpose of the demo. And so this is using messages to realize this thing. All of these are modules, so basically no plugin is involved here, and all of them relies on the widget node, which is basically like a little wrapper around any other widgets. And because I can yeah, I can modify the type of widget, which will be here. I think here, yes. I don't know when I looked at this the last time. And of course, why it is working, because you can't have the Nexus OSC in a file, so it's not just loading an HTML file from the disk, the HTML texture. It doesn't. Oh yeah, it uses the DirectX 11 HTML texture from I forgot his name, but if it loads up, I will tell you that. Not, I don't think so. It was Vershi. Yeah, Gumilastic. Yes, Gumilastic, of course. I've asked him to do a workshop about HTML texture, but he kind of faded away, and it is he stopped responding for some particular reason. Amazing. Oh yeah. Okay, no, it doesn't make any sense. Anywho, let's start it again, because I want to show you something about this, how cool it is. Because you know, you can set up an HTTP server inside vvv with the HTTP server nodes, and basically that is doing, oops, basically that is serving all the files for the Nexus engine to work with inside HTML texture. If I just find the right cons, because it was not updated. The hassle. So this is Nexus server provider, and in a multi-vvv environment, it should be only created once. And this is how it does it. So basically, just ask for 3 files. I specify these 3 files. I have this URL thing, and then yeah, it just reads the content out for it. That's how the news goes. So this is Nexus Inv. I won't go too much detail into the individual pins of these, because that can easily be done in its own workshop, and I won't go into that low level in this one. So there's Sheets. Now Sheets is basically, there's no girl power for it, so I will just tell you, it's Google Sheets. It's reading data from Google Sheets. Now it is not included inside the official md ecosystem contribution, but it has a vpack. As far as I know, this is the right vpack, and yes, it is. So it has its vpack, so it can be downloaded, and I would encourage the brave people to try it out, because it was just used in a single project with a deadline, so have fun there. Also libtest, it was just a little experiment to implement triangulation with objects with a hole in them, and yeah, it won't work, because I don't know when I've done it. I'm not really good at tracking my own things in it. So RPC sessions is a very specific one. Okay, let's dive into that a little bit. And so basically, it's just a server which you can create multiple client vvvs, and you can communicate with those with the server, but it looks like something is not updated. Yes, the messages are not updated. Okay, yeah, the message notes are not updated in there, so well, that's for this demo then. Okay, so yeah, and the very infamous MSN, nobody can run it, me neither. So I think that was it, guys, the second part of MD ecosystem, and new parties will join in this year, mostly FBX, that's quite anticipated, and yeah, I will do a couple of hype machine style things, and of course MS3, which I agreed a workshop about in Node 17, or I mean, I proposed a workshop about it in Node 17, and I hope I will be ready with it by then, or whatever state it will be. It will be cool. Anyway, this was it. and thanks for watching for 4 of you. Actually 3 of you. If you're watching multiple persons on the screen, anyway, I can't count it. And so yeah, this was the 20th one, which makes like yeah, shitload amount of hours of workshop material already on this channel. So yeah, we made it so far, and I hope the interest in these won't go down. Well, won't go lower than 3 people. Otherwise I would just auto myself in it. And so that's the end. Thanks for watching, and have a nice evening, and I hope you found a couple of cool nods around here. Okay, yeah, let's stop the stream. So bye guys, have a good evening.